Hello folks, it's Ron Grovis from Ron's Beer Reviews and Tools, and we've got a good one for you today. As you can see in front of you, it's the first type of beer that's been brewed. They call it a Gruit. This is ancient Gruit, a river runs Gruit is the name of it, and this comes from Vermont. Actually, Morrisville, Vermont, up there at Rock Art Brewery. Gruit is beer or ale that was one of the first ones that were brewed back in the medieval times. They basically had a big vat, wooden vat, that would pour us in the bottom and put all these herbs in it. No hops, all herbs in it. Like what's in here. Ale brewed with herbs. Camille, rose hips, elderberry, lavender. And makes I guess, a delicious brew. It's a beer. This is the first beers that were brewed. And it kind of, since then, it kind of went from those herbs for bitterness. They went to hops. But this has no hops in it. This is 5% ABV, alcohol by volume, with 0 international bitter units. As you can see, you got some wheat up here. The young lady got some flowers, which would be the flowers that would be in the Gruit, which is in this here, how they brewed it. You can see the flower in her hair. This brewery is, electrical energy is used by 100% solar on producing this can, probably other beers that they have. They have a nice webpage, a real nice webpage. And I saw a photo. I've never been up to their brewery or that part of Vermont. Vermont, the green state, I'm not all that familiar with, as I am for New Hampshire and Maine, Rhode Island and Connecticut and New York. Even though I've been to upper state, way upper state, Enosburg Falls in Vermont. My brother-in-law lived there, my loving wife's brother. Now he's in upper state New York, but we used to go up to upper state Vermont. We used to go to Burlington, Vermont a couple of times, but I'm not really that familiar with Vermont. I never skied Vermont. But this is the brewery from their brewery, Rock Art Brewery. And you'll see the pictures, some sketches and so forth of how this is made, and basically just using herbs at the time and some flowers and certain plants that were used. Since I saw this, I've been dying to try it. I've had it a little bit in the refrigerator for a while, maybe going on 2 weeks. So it isn't that long I've had it, but I haven't tried it. I don't know what it looks like. It shouldn't be shaking it up like this, I guess. All right, let's get a glass. Oh, I like a mug. We use a mug. One of my old mugs that they had, and kind of goes back to an old time. This here. All right. Without further ado, let's crack this Gruit open. Like I say, this is, you'll see the pictures of sketches that we have, and they're pretty good. That's how they made the first beer or ale at the time. All right. No further ado. Excuse me. Not getting. Oh, just starting to get some aroma here, some herbalness. All right. See what this looks like. I don't know what it looks like. Typical ale. Nice head on it. Remember, there's no hops in this. It is all brewed with herbs and flowers. There's sediment floating around in there. I hope it's supposed to be. All right, that's what it looks like. Kind of murky. Really kind of thick, muddy brown color. Off-white head on it. All right, let's the nose to it. Well, it smells like an ale, but really the herbs are coming through. It's kind of, whoa, quite the, like a sweet kind of smell, but not really. It's an off sweet. Get the chamomile and all that floral character of all the herbs that are in this. It's and the head is going down pretty fast. Well, I would say fast, but it's not retaining the head on it. It's got to smell like cider in a bit, mulled cider. Remember that apple butter they had, that butter there with the apples that you could have? It's flowery. It's awfully flowery. The chamomile, I guess, really is the part that comes through. Lavender. That's what it is, lavender. Picking up lavender now. Picking up lavender. It kind of changes as the head dissipates. And you get different aromas coming through on the gases. But the color of it, it's got that murky brown color. It's a bunch of, I mean, really an array of herbs in this. I mean, really just the elderberry and the lavender and all those other herbs do give a spiciness to it. I've never had anything like this before. And, all right, with no further ado, I guess I should give it a try. It's different, and it's one of those things that I've never had before. I think there's rose hips in this, because I'm getting a rosy, that, you know, it could be the lavender, but it smells like rose. Definitely all the other aromas that are in that, and maybe even nutmeg for that matter. Yeah, I'm getting that rose hips, definitely. All right, no further ado, bottoms up. Not bad, not bad. A sweet quality to it. It's not as pronounced as the aromas. Like a real mild beer. The chamomile is I think the strong part of this, and I can imagine, yes, you could get inebriated on drinking these, being 5%. And I can just imagine back then, the medieval times, 1400s, of them drinking this. That's what it would look like, and that's what I couldn't imagine. But if I see this now, I can imagine that's what in the 1400s, 1500s, excuse me, 1600s. Also, that time when they're perfecting, I think by the 1600s they might have went to hops. But other than that, it's all the chamomile, the rose hips, the elderberry, and the lavender, and it ends up producing, being fermented, 5% alcohol by volume. So this is a beer or an ale for sure, with a totally different flavor. No hops are in this at all. No hops at all. You see how it's made in the process of running the hot water through and then fermenting it. So there is some, assuming some sugars in some of those herbs and plants. And I don't even think they used, must have been wild yeast. It should have been on a lot of the plants. But you're definitely getting the alcohol on this here. It's not acidic at all, And if anything, towards the sweetness. The body on this is a moderate, like, it's hard to say, mild, medium. It's got carbonation in that. Carbonation is in that. It doesn't have, I'm trying to see what it lacks. Maybe missing part of the whole, in other words, the hop's not in there. and the whole body of a beer is the hops, and it doesn't seem like a whole full body of an ale quite yet. Maybe because there's no hops in it. I mean, this beer, I've ever run through it, is a Gruit. It's not a beer, not an ale. It's a Gruit. It's the very first phase of producing beers back then in those days. And through evolution, we now have the beers that we have today, all those craft beers. But this was the very first start of human beings making something that had alcohol, something called an ale. Sure, they had wines and so forth, but this was going down the road. And many years later, now we have the beers that we drink today. But this was the very first, this Gruit. Look it up on your browsers, please, and you'll see more information on these. It's quite the drink. I mean, really, quite the drink. It's enjoyable. Yeah, I could see that becoming in my array of different drinks. More so, I would get a family and friends come over to have it. But it's so different. It's stepping back in time, really going back in time to the years when they were making Gruit, 1400s. This is what they were drinking. Like I said, by the 1700s, Paul Revere and John Hancock, George Washington had truer beer. I think at that point in time they had hops in it. This is before their times, with the Gruits. And it might have been around in their time. They may have drank a lot of Gruit. It probably was still around. People were making it. Companies were making it. There's now companies making it now. This isn't the only company, Rock Art Brewing Company up in Vermont. There's other ones that are producing Gruit. And you have an opportunity, you should try it. It's so different. It's so different. And our ancestors many years ago were brewing this. Brewed and canned by Rock Art Brewers, Morrisville, Vermont. All right, like I said, I don't know that much about Vermont, so I don't know what part of Vermont that's in. But this is tasty. Tasty in a way that I've never had a flavor like this in my mouth before. It's so different. So different. And some more, a lot of, oh, that was really floral. That mouthful really gave me a real floral. As you can see the sediment, again. Okay, see the sediment? So those got to be bits and bits of the flowers and the herbs that are in this. That are adding to the flavor. Well, I won't run this too long. So that's what our forefathers way back when were producing and drinking Gruit. Have an opportunity to try it. Try it. With that said, folks, enjoy the day. Gonna drink responsibly. Ciao.